Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Think Small podcast. I'm your host, Denise Steinbring, and I've come to believe that most business owners at any given moment are doing one of three things: trying to fix something that's broken, build something that isn't there yet, or avoid something that they'd rather not face. The best conversations on this show happen when someone is honest about which one they're in, and today's guest is in the middle of building something new on top of a company that's quietly become one of the most respected names in luxury packaging. Jessica Kolb is a packaging engineer who came up the technical ladder from technician to helping to run the entire operation at Apogee Development, the boutique development partner and luxury component supplier behind many launches that you'd recognize for brands like Tory, Burch, Sam Edelman, etc. She runs Apogee alongside its founder, Rob Lynch, and she's also an owner. Jessica, welcome to the Think Small podcast. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you, Denise, for having me on.
Yeah. I want to start with the question that I most want your answer to. So when you picture Apogee 2 or 3 times its current size, what's the one thing that you're least sure about on how to build to get there?
Yeah, I think it's our attention to detail and the way we handle customers. The hope is that you don't lose that when you scale and you get bigger, because that's one thing that's very important to us in our reputation is the customer service, customer relationship aspect. So, scaling 2 to 3 times, you want to continue to service your customers in the same way that you did when you first started out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Tell us a little bit about Apogee and, what some of your unique differentiators are in terms of how do people find out about you? What are the types of solutions that you offer to customers? Because I think it's a really creative business.
Yeah, thank you. Apogee Development started about 6-7 years ago by Rob Lynch, who is a packaging engineer like myself. We both worked at the same place, and we were on the customer side. And so we were an internal, right, working at big companies. Mm-hmm. And we had talked about this idea for many years about using our skill of packaging expertise and technical knowledge to, build a company to help people solve problems and address challenges with packaging in fragrance and spirits industries. And I think we've been slowly building a good small reputation from word of mouth. That's how we really started, was through the network that we had, and now we're expanding into doing shows and doing some promotions online, social media marketing, to try to scale ourselves to be a little bit bigger.
Great. And had you come up in the fragrance and spirits business, or how did you make that decision to go into that segment of packaging?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, both Rob and I spent time in the fragrance side. That's where we met. We spent some time at a small company that was doing a lot of turnkey fragrances. And then I moved on after that. I actually moved into the spirits industry and was running like new product development. And so I got some good experience there. And I think we knew there was always a gap kind of people needing expertise with a supplier, a sourcing partner, packaging expertise to try to help them get what it is exactly what they want.
Yeah, I think about a lot of the beautiful bottles of perfume that I see at the stores, right? The ones that look like a shoe or things like that. Are those hard to do?
Oh, yeah, every package has its challenges, of course. And I think our job is to help people identify those challenges and make recommendations and suggestions on how to get it to exactly where they want or what they want in a package. And yes, every package has its own challenge, and but we don't want to ever say no. We think there's always a way through.
And so do a lot of these customers come to you with sort of their own vision of, we're going to launch this new fragrance or this new spirit, right? And we want to emit this type of an emotion with clients that buy this fragrance for et cetera? Or do they come to you and say, we really need help brainstorming, like what could really make this stand out and what's unique about it? Or does it kind of cross both of those chasms?
Yeah, it crosses both of those paths, really. We're happy to lean on kind of what we've done already, because I think it's very unique. It's premium luxury to show people, for inspiration. But there are folks that already have a vision, they already have a design, but they may have been told that they can't do it, or they're looking for a partner that can help them execute it. And that's where we come in.
Good. Well, you and Rob are both packaging engineers, so you came up on the technical side, not the sales side. And so when a brand comes to you with a beautiful fragrance design or a design team and a glass supplier who's already told them that part's going to be a problem, what is it that the two of you see that someone who came up with in the sales world might miss?
Yeah, I think we are optimistic, and we see the manufacturing side of it and the feasibility. And we tend to go, how can we achieve this? What, from a technical aspect, what can we do to try to achieve this? Or maybe a salesperson won't completely understand that. I think having that knowledge, now on the sales side, we're able to brainstorm and communicate some ideas to customers.
So it sounds like it's a lot of technical rigor, right? Like that desire to never say no and that you're going to figure it out for those clients. Is that what I'm hearing?
I would say you're right. Don't try to ever say no, because we think that there's always a path forward to achieve what it is that they're looking for.
So tell me about a time when the factory hit a real problem and your team solved it so cleanly that the client never even knew that it happened. Does that happen in your world?
All of the time, unfortunately. So that's one thing that we're very good at, and we're strong at, is reviewing engineering pieces, technical drawings to solve problems and or avoid potential problems because of our backgrounds in packaging. Mm-hmm. And so the customers don't necessarily see that all the time. And so I think that's sometimes a good thing, because we can identify problems sooner in the process versus later for customers.
I would imagine that the expectations for luxury brands are probably a lot higher, than maybe for a food product or, something like that sits on a grocery shelf. Is that true?
Most definitely, yes. And that's why we also set standards, do inspections, and review pieces. We're always looking at things ourselves. I love to look at samples all the time, and we're always providing feedback of our own to the factory, sometimes without actually letting the customer know, because we want to make sure we give them good product.
Did COVID impact your business a lot in terms of like the types of materials that you might be using to build glass bottles or other types of textures or things that you're going for? How did that impact you?
I would actually say that COVID impacted us, not necessarily on the material side, but on the shipping side for sure. Mm-hmm. Everything, there was a high demand for different things, and the shipping, was very expensive at the time. And people couldn't get things from certain suppliers. So we did some projects where we helped some customers that, otherwise would not have been able to get components from their current suppliers. So we were able to service them in a very timely manner.
That's great. Another value-added service that maybe they didn't expect, right?
Yes.
Well, here's part of your story that I think the audience will feel in their bones. You said that for about 15 years, you were the technical person, internal, never customer facing. And now you're the one taking the meetings, working the lead list, even doing sales training with Rob. So Apogee grew almost entirely on word of mouth. And you mentioned now you're doing things like trade shows and social media, building a way to be found on purpose. So what is it actually like to build a sales motion from scratch when your whole career has been technically oriented?
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure. It's learning something that I had never realized, that I'm not terrible at. I'm pretty good at connections. It's listening to people. It's connecting with people. It's understanding their pain points. Yeah, I think it's been good for me to grow and to understand this area of sales as we continue to build the business.
So are there skills from your technical side that you've had to sort of unlearn to be more on the relationship, side?
I wouldn't say unlearn. I would say we have to listen more. Listening to customers, understanding their pain points, not jumping to conclusions about what it is they want or their design to help them better.
So you're also doing some work with AI. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. Like a lot of companies, we're trying to use it to our advantage. We started a campaign on LinkedIn through another service to try to extend our outreach to potential new customers, to kind of engage with people that we really don't know or haven't met. And I think it works faster when you use AI because it can send many more emails than you can in a day, right? Messages.
Right.
And so that's led us to a couple of good opportunities. And it's something I think we're going to keep exploring and incorporating into our business model as we keep moving forward.
And what have you learned about trade shows and what happens after the trade show, right, in order to build those business relationships? Has anything surprised you?
From the last trade show that we did, you meet a lot of people, and you realize some of them are trying to sell you on something, and a lot of people maybe don't know what they're looking for. But I think it's a lot of follow-up and trying to curate that relationship, build that relationship with somebody over time to try to, eventually do a project with them. And so I think for me, we got a lot of people that we really enjoyed meeting, but it was narrowing down the list and then continuing to follow up, as for a lead.
And I think your point about really listening to customers, right, has brought you some great insights. You had shared with me that a lot of customers are under real cost pressure right now. So how are you positioning Apogee Development as the partner who helps them through that? Any learnings there that you can share with the audience?
Yeah, I think everyone, is under cost pressures, even us. I think what we do, and considering that even a few projects that we have now, we provide alternatives, maybe cost-effective alternatives for different designs. Like, there's a customer that wants something high-end and luxury, and it needs to be in metal or glass, but it's too expensive. And so we come up with an alternative that maybe achieves their design, but is not the same material, but is more cost-effective for them. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we're currently going through now with a few projects, is presenting those alternatives for cost measures, cost savings.
Great. So let's pivot to the brand for a minute, because I think this is interesting. Your own website says that Apogee quietly built its reputation while others took the high-profile path. And when I asked if that was a choice, you told me, well, that's just who we are. You also told me that you honestly never really thought about what the louder path might have looked like. So let me ask it gently. As you step into this growth mode, what might the louder version of Apogee even sound like? And how do you get louder without losing the thing that made the quiet reputation worth having?
Yeah, I thought about this a little bit further after our initial conversation. And we really built the start of the company on, it was all word of mouth on who we knew and who knew us and our abilities and our, backgrounds. And so we didn't do much promoting. We didn't do trade shows. And I think some companies start out like that, where they promote a lot and maybe don't have the reputation to back it up. But we had the reputation, the skills, the network, and now we're kind of going at promoting. We're trying to promote ourselves through social media, sponsorships, Lux Pack, luxury packaging shows, which is how I think of us getting louder.
So you had shared that a packaging engineer should think like a brand manager. So now when you're in the room as the salesperson, right, are clients buying your judgment, or are they still buying a bottle or a container of some sort, right, depending on what segment they're in? And does Apogee get paid for the thinking, or do you think that that's just a differentiator that you can bring to them because of your background?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think that's just a differentiator that we bring to them as compared to other, companies. We provide recommendations, analyses, engineering reviews to help people, again, achieve what it is they want.
Give our listeners a sense of what made you feel like now was the right time to place a bet to step into this broader role, to do something that you've never done before, right? You're an owner operator and and a packaging engineer, and now you're the salesperson as well. That's a lot of hats to wear. So what made you feel like now was the right time, and what made you confident to bet on yourself?
Yeah, Rob and I have always talked about this path kind of for ourselves and the company. And for me, I didn't realize actually how, good I am at connecting with people, but there's definitely still a level of, uncomfort as far as a sales role and facing people. So I think it's okay to be uncomfortable because that's where growth happens.
Right.
And I appreciate that I am growing and learning, and it's something different that I've never done before.
Yeah. Well, Jessica, last question. So we've talked about your path, to what you're working on now. And for the operator or business owner who's listening, who's brilliant at their craft, but learning the commercial side as they go, what's the one thing you've learned that you wish someone had told you earlier?
I think it's about the connection with people and listening to their pain points. I wish I would have known that earlier in my career, because I think it's highly important in all aspects, all kind of different roles within a company, even not just sales.
And has that affected you both personally as well as professionally, right? Because I think we all could be better listeners. That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
Yes, it has impacted me personally. Yeah, I think I've kind of stepped out of my comfort zone, and I try to listen better, and building more relationships and doing things that are a little more uncomfortable, trying to attend things that I would not have normally attended.
Yeah. Well, Jessica, this has been such a good conversation about growing something without cheapening it, right? For our listeners who want to follow Apogee Development's work or connect with you and see more about your journey, where should they go? Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find us on our website, apogeedvllc.com. We're also on LinkedIn and Instagram as well.
Okay, great. And to our Think Small listeners, if today's conversation gave you one honest way to think about building the commercial side of a business that you've quietly built really well, please share it with somebody who needs to hear it. We'll see you all next time, and thank you so much for giving us your time, Jessica. It was a great conversation.
Thank you, Denise, so much. Thank you for having me again.
Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?